Greetings, elected representatives, and greetings, citizens. As you can tell, my name is David Sokaitis, and I'm here to talk about zoning and aesthetics. I like to make the world pretty when I can. Now, when we have zoning, we've got a variety of purposes that are worth describing briefly. One of the goals is to group similar land uses and put them all together, and we need to protect property values. People put a lot of money into the property. It's good to make sure that nothing bad happens to that. We want to keep neighbors happy. Pretty houses all go together, and the stuff we don't want goes somewhere else. That's what zoning is all about. There's a trend that goes around the world. It's mass production, basically. You get one good design, and you keep on doing it. Well, if you do that with housing, I don't really think it's a very good idea. You end up with tract housing. And I think that if we have any of that, we should make sure we don't get any more. And it could be, if you tweak your zoning laws a little bit and require some modest changes in your facade, nominal increase in cost to the developer, you could eliminate things like this. You know, they had one pretty plan and made too many of them all in a row, and it would be better if we don't have that in Sioux Falls. Now, there was another issue that's kind of related, but I'll just kind of glue it in instead of waiting for it later in the agenda. When you have houses and apartment buildings, some people say it's okay to put them together next to each other. The city zoning board says it's okay. Last meeting, there were some homeowners that says this scheme is really bad for property values. And some proponents said, no, that's not an issue. Well, what we should do is get some data. I'm a great fan of data. Scientist, engineer, give me data. Database administrator, too. All right, so if you have a single-family house and you put it next to a small, cute apartment building, what happens to the property values on that pretty house? And then if you put that single-family house next to a big, pretty apartment building, does something else happen? And the third classification is what happens when it's next to a big, ugly apartment building. We need some data. What happens to the property values? There was a scant mention of data on the last meeting, but it was insufficient. We need more data. So I'd like to recommend that the city zoning board get some data on these three different classifications, and then to delay that cantankerous zoning item until you have some data so that you can make a more informed decision. Short presentation tonight. I'd like to close it by saying, good evening, everybody. Try to be nice and enjoy life. This is a local picture. It looks like the Badlands, but it's local. And with that, good evening.